So let's start right from our beginnings again. So we come into your graceful resting position and sink into that right leg and step out with the left. And let's just see what it's like to kind of build our set from the bottom. So coming back, straightening your knees, forward sinking, and then straighten your knees as you come forward onto the balls of your feet. And just start to kind of feel into this, building from the feet. So because there's a little bit more of a moving back and forth on your feet with this, the Dantian becomes really important as part of your grounding. And just kind of give yourself a chance to feel the connection between feet and Dantian. And then once you have a sense of that, just feel how this motion can have the intention of exploring your space. Of really feeling like this area around me is something that I'm just inhabiting as part of an extension of my inner landscape. We'll do 2 more of these. Just really give yourself a chance to let it sink into you. And here we come the last time, so sinking into that right leg and coming up with the left and down. And so here in our resting position is a real chance for you to kind of feel that, how am I now in my body? How am I inhabiting the space that I'm in? Now let's take that into our bird flaps its wings, so gathering that charge in your hands and then sinking down onto the balls of the feet, gathering in, second time, and then the circle. Just letting that charge release with that wrist circles. And then again, flick, and gather one more time and circles. Just feel how you can sync with that. And out again, gather, and around. So every time we come down like this, it kind of picks up on some of that Qigong thing I was talking about kind of making a much bigger motion of coming down. It kind of picks up on that feel and just brings it down. Now we do our first stepping forward. So this is not as strong as we go into our first platter as that push-pull 6 healing sounds feel of it, but you can come into the sense of the heel of your hand and feel how that engages with the energetic sense of the heavy air around you. And just to feel how, as you create that platter, you're also starting to own or define the space so that the core of you has a chance to move through it a little bit more. And that trailing back of your fingers really has a chance to feel the sense of moving through that space, as if you're just creating eddies of movement. One more time, we'll come around. And then just feeling how the Dantian and the feet can guide you back to your graceful resting position. And the second side, right foot forward. Just guiding forward with your Dantian and your feet supporting that, solid on the front. As we come back, solid on the back. And then once you've got the feel of that, just add in that sense of how you're moving through space, through the center of you, and how your hands help define that space for you. Just feeling the engagement. We'll do 2 more. Back and forward. Good. So just each time you come to that resting position, it just gives you a chance to reconnect with being here in your space, in your body. Let's try the platter variation. Gather that charge and release it. Forward and back. Just feeling how you can just be here in your body, in your space. We'll do 2 more. Forward and release, trailing back. And 1 more time. And back. And then feeling from that place of how you are in your body, then start into the next side, so that that weighting has informed you about how you are at this moment as we come forward on this side and back. Just keep coming back through and checking how much do your feet support this movement. Really getting very specific about the support on the front foot and the back foot as you go through the movement. How the Dantian moves and guides you through your center. We'll do 2 more. Back and 1 more time around. And back. Just feeling that connection through the center. And just so you can get that connection again, let's just do a little bit of a broader, that more Qigong version I was talking about. Bring your arms all the way out and up and down through the center to approach your graceful resting position. So you're really getting that sense of the whole body. All right, into the bass drum now. So coming from that place, and now we get much more of that connection through the center. Much more of a gathering of intentionality as your hands come together with the bass drum. Forward. And up. And then drawing back and down. And back, and then we'll do 2 more. And back, and 1 more through. Nice. And drawing back and down and into your graceful resting position again. And then the second side. So one of the great things about this particular kind of intention, about just taking your space, taking your place, is that it really gives you a chance to feel your whole body, your whole organism as it moves through space and just inhabits that space bubble around you. And just that sense of that inhabiting can be a grounding in itself. We'll do 2 more times. And forward and back for the last time and closing. Okay, now let's see how this works with the first of the daughters. So opening up and then drawing in that energy and down. So this is a real chance to kind of feel how the sideways connection happens more with your hands, how it kind of scoops in a little bit around the sides of you in contrast to the bass drum, and then draws in toward the center. And forward and back, and 2 more times. There's a very famous Tai Chi master, Al Chung, who used to run retreats at the Esalen Training Center in Big Sur, California. And he would invite people from any Tai Chi tradition to come and just play with him. And he'd sometimes have a musician like a cellist, and there they would be out on these bluffs over the Pacific Ocean. And so if your tradition, for example, was as ours is in Tai Chi Cha, he might say, as you're listening to the music, see how it invites you to move. And so, for example, you might play sometimes with, what's it like to really open up and come in with my space? And so this would become a much grander, a bigger form of Daughter in the Mountaintop, so that by the time you come back to taking it back into sort of the tradition or movement of the set, you're drawing upon that bigger sense of it to inform your smaller movement. And Al Chung would have, people just kind of playing with their different forms of Tai Chi move and just feeling how it supported them in moving through space at that particular moment in time. And really, in the end, it's like where these movements originally came out of. And so it really helps recover some of that sense of the origins of it, while then returning to the form with something new and fresh for yourself. So let's take this to the second side. So opening, right foot forward, opening, just feel that opening, and then how it comes in and closes. And how being in that space as you move forward and back is kind of like a flowering and a closing in that is part of how you take your place. We'll do 2 more times with this. You really have a chance to feel that. 1 more time. Forward and with the closing back. And then daughter in the valley, opening space and down and up. And release. And then once you've got the sense of it, then to come back to yourself through the whole center of your body and just feel what it's like to just really inhabit this movement. How does it inform a way of being in the world? Forward, back. And 2 more times. So with that forward and coming up, there's a bit of a lifting in the Danchen, for example, that helps bring it forward, emphasizes it. And last time, coming back and closing. And the second time, opening, stepping forward, gathering low, bringing up, forward. So you can see how this movement, in contrast to daughter in the mountaintop, has got much more about the opening. It doesn't have that kind of drawing into center and closing. And so it really gives you a chance to feel how you can be in yourself in this part of the world, this way in the world, and have your hands kind of helping to find the space that supports that. We'll do 1 more time forward and opening and back. Good. And then I'll just go a bit to the side so we can carry the ball to the side. And here we come, starting into that movement and then just moving across with that right hand, just a little bit more awareness in it. And close with that right foot in. And the second time. And just feeling how you are in your space, your Danchen, your feet supported, and then coming in and closing. And then the last time as you come up, there's a bit of a sinking in the Danchen as you go to step across. And third time. Coming in and closing. Just briefly, and then we start going back the other way. And closing. And again off to the right. I remember hearing Justin Stone say once that originally he actually was thinking about having the back hand be a little bit more aware, his close here, as you went across the top as well. But he felt that it just got too complex for people to get, sink and go again. And so he just focused on talking about it here at the bottom. But you can play with that. You'll see that it gets a totally different feel if here you're coming across with your left hand more aware, but as you come across in the top part, your right hand is more aware. And it just kind of brings a little bit of a different sense to play with, and then let's close. Okay, and then our push-pull, so sinking as your hands come up. So here's one of these great places to really feel the coming forward and opening up space, and then just letting, as your hands come back, to really defining how you're letting space come in, or letting the world come into your space. That right hand, a little bit more awareness in it. So this is like one of the first movements that really invites more awareness of the space up around the head as well. We'll do 2 more of these. And back. And sinking on the second side. And now the left hand is heavier, or more aware. So this is a wonderful movement for really feeling how the coordination of your hands opening up space and your torso moving right with it, they really have a chance to start to feel that connection. And then the more inviting version of the coming back again. Always yin and yang, balancing each other. We'll do 2 more, just to give you a chance to really feel this. Open space, back, and 1 more time through. And back. And into pulling in the energy, so the turning of the hands and coming up is like a way of kind of being here right now. Every single part of these movements you can take as a snapshot and just say, so what's it like to be like this in the world? And just, it becomes like a Qigong place you could hold, like our final cosmic consciousness pose, and then come out of the movement and draw back into it through the fingertips. Just feeling through the fingertips as you draw back as well. And 2 more. And what's it like to just be in this place, to inhabit it in your body as your hands open to space and coming back and closing. And then we have a chance to come into that again and revisit it from the right side, right foot forward. Just feel that moving forward from the dantian, really solidly supported on the front foot, and then drawing back to the dantian and solidly supported on the back foot. And 2 more. Just give yourself a chance to really feel this place. Be in it and back 1 more time around. There. Here we go now into our sidestepping motions, our tafis. So this becomes a really interesting way of kind of dropping down into your center and moving across and then closing. So sweeping across with your right hand under the left, sinking, and then drawing out and closing. So this is a lovely focus of emphasis on kind of being down and in yourself. And in this particular one, the basic tafi doesn't have that same kind of sense of moving forward or opening up space. It really lets you feel the core of yourself, just inhabiting right where you are. One last time we come across and close, and then winding up with the right hand, sweeping across, and really feeling yourself down and in your core with this one. Okay, and now we start moving forward in our space, but again, it's got that real emphasis of kind of being down and in yourself. It's not as much of that hand creating room for yourself. So let's just see how that goes. You wind up with your left hand, sweep across, foot comes forward and falls in, and then just feel how you've got that sense that even as you open space with that forward hand, it's low, it's at a dantian level. And then sideways. And then sweeping with the right, so the right foot comes forward. Opening space. And you might even get a feel, now that we've done that pulling in the energy, that as you come forward and open up space, let's try this again, sinking, sweeping in with the left hand, left foot forward. As you come forward, feel how those fingers of your hand can kind of help open the space in front of you, and then draw in. And then across. And forward. And close. And one last time, sinking and across. And that kind of opening with your foot and closing. Okay. Now let's go on to wrist circles tafi. So sinking down a bit and then feeling that lift. So again, this is all staying low, and then you go really low across. And then drawing up a bit, but your hands are still really defining that pelvis dantian thing, and then coming low and across. And up, and then down for the third one. Close. And then staying down, come back. And one more time, sinking, and then up on the balls of your feet. And across to the left. And up the second time, and then going down, sweeping, winding up. That delicious kind of staying low and then rising for the end. There. And then finally, the perpetual motion tafi. So here's where we stay low through the whole thing. We sink here and then pretty much stay the same level, sweeping with the right, sweeping with the left. Toe comes up and then slight release of your heel on that back foot. So it really commits you into just feeling the support of the foot that you're moving towards and across to. It really gives you a chance to explore that feeling of moving with the Danchen through these twisting motions, just dropping into it. And just feeling yourself in this space, in your space bubble, taking your space as you move through the motions. And then we'll come through one more time, across and back, and then just bringing yourself up and in as you close. So that all that work that you did with the tafis really helps you revisit that whole sense of sinking and just being here in your space. So now we'll go into working the pulley. So sinking on your right as the left hand comes up and the right hand goes into its receiving place, and then forward. So this is probably one of the most obvious places where our motion takes us into the space behind us. So it's a really useful thing to kind of really think about how that scooping back is supported by the moving forward of the pulley. And how the spreading of the arms really helps emphasize you in the center of the place, of the space. We'll do two more. Back, and here we come forward for the 8th time. Feeling that connection as you open the space in the front and the back. And one more time. And back. Now we'll do the second side. So that left hand turns palm upward as the right hand starts to lead you forward, and then opening with the back and the front, around the pulleys, around the discs, both forward and back. And just kind of revisit yourself. How am I in this space? How is it a way of being in the world? What wants to support me and just inhabiting myself more fully? How might this movement invite me to be a little bit more fully in myself? 2 more. Forward. And then just one last time to really let yourself get what this is about. Just feel yourself in it and coming back. Okay, and now we'll come into the lights. So here's where you get that sense of coming up that I was getting you to explore a version of before. So let's just see what this is like. We come down and we scoop that light up to the top of the temples. And sinking, releasing the heels a bit as you come up. And a second time. And then a third time, flicking. And then circling. Really feeling what's there between your hands. And just as you hold here, you also have a chance to feel not just what's between your hands, but also your whole body, like how I am in this space, in this moment. And then we sink again. Up and open, supported by the dantian, up and open. And the third time, you really get a chance to take that circle of opening up through your whole space and then really sinking with it and coming up with those cupped hands to the middle of your chest and much fuller coming down for a brief moment into that resting position and then down, and here we come up to our temples. Release the heels as you flick. And third time. And around, just feeling that connection between your hands. Now that your head is kind of in there, it's another way of connecting right through. And hold, and just feel yourself, how you inhabit this space, this way of being in the world, as if it was your final position. And then sinking and releasing from that place. And the third time out and around and sinking with it. And now the joyous breath. So we sink, step off a little bit to the left, and then come down gently, and then you just start to feel that back pressure, that heavy air as you start coming up. So here we come with our strong breath in through the back of your throat. And then just a gentle turn, and now we get that heavy air again. And gentle turn, now engage. Turn. And release one last time. Really feel the connection, your breath and your hands. And gently coming in. Now with our passing clouds, as we come across to the right, so you're going to wind up with your left hand and then step off to the right and sweep, and so there's that kind of creation of your space, and then around the front of you, and now that right hand sweeps. And that sweeping is unusual in this movement in that the fingers are just dangling as if they're down over the side of a boat into water. They're not forward in this particular one. And just letting your weight transfer move back and forth, so there's a bit of a twisting in your pelvis. Nice. Come across, and then we'll do 2 more times. So here we come across to the right. Just feel how you can be in this motion, and now we're going to come back and close. And then the 6 healing sounds, so ho, hu, and tsu are the first ones. So here we go, we sink, and that left hand comes forward. Both hands. And then tsu, sideways. Tsu. So the hands are all soft. The real strong part is in the breath and that kind of releasing of the vowel part. The second part of it is like you start something strong and then release it with the vowel part. So sha, shi, and chui. And chui. And in contrast to the passing clouds, these hands as they sweep across, your forearms are pretty much parallel to the ground. They're much higher up. So ho hu tsu, feeling it from the danchen, and tsu, tsu, sha, shi, chui. You can feel how those sounds really engage the danchen. Ho, ho, hu, hu, tsu, tsu, sha, sha, shi, shi, and 5 chuis. Chui, chui, staying down, chui, opening space, chui, and last time across, chui, and in. And finally, we come to our graceful resting position where we take all of this and take it into a true snapshot. So, more weight into the right foot, left heel comes up onto your ankle, hands come up. And just feel this as a place. So your right ball of your foot is resting on the ground and you're just resting the heel. So you've got a little bit of support from both the right foot and the left foot. And then just come from the ground up through your feet, really feel the connection strongly through that right foot, and then a little bit less through the ball of the left foot, with the heel getting supported by resting on that right ankle bone. And coming up through the legs, feel how they organize around that. How does it want to go? Just letting your body have permission to find how it can be in this moment with this suggestion of way of being in the world. And up into your pelvis, and just feel how that connects down to your legs. How does it want to be? And then up through each of the vertebrae, just kind of letting the ones that are available to you find their positioning. How do they want to be? All the way up your spine, through your rib cage, up into your neck, so that by the time you get to that whole occipital and head part, if you just explore the dropping of your chin a little bit, you can feel how there's an awakening of response in the back of your neck, and then just letting your eyes go a little bit unfocused, and so that when you bring your attention down, it's inward now, into the danchen area. Wherever you locate that, whether it's back towards your spine or more forward in the front of your belly, just find a locating of that place and its connection, so that the connection down through your legs and through the ground again has got that core sense of connection. And then just coming to a close, one last, and you can see now we're really kind of opening up a little bit. It's not as big as that Qigong movement, but we come down into our graceful resting position. And then go into our bow, just to recognize that we're actually embedded in a whole ecology of life. And in the end, what the world is asking so much for us is that we truly take our place as much as possible to contribute to the unfolding of the world as it is and how as it's becoming. And that's the end of our practice for today.